Speaking of practices, by the way, just when you thought the 49ers were done with one James Garoppolo, we hear that now they're working on joint practices with the Las Vegas Raiders, which I cannot wait for. Fred Warner's going to eat once more, baby. Jimmy's going to be throwing those picks left and right, and Raider fans are going to be the ones sweating it out and saying it's not a big deal.
Yeah. I'm kind of rooting for Jimmy Garoppolo to do well with the Raiders. I don't care about Jimmy, but if Jimmy plays well and stays healthy, that's not good for the 49ers. Not good, especially if he stays healthy. Forget about him playing well. Forget about him playing well. He's Jimmy. We know how he's going to play. If he stays healthy, that opens up a can of worms for the 49ers, especially if their quarterbacks get hurt this year. So I'm interested in that. But I'm really glad that the joint practices are in Vegas because I like Vegas. It's a great town for, I think people go there for gambling and like tricking.
Yes.
It's great for restaurants. It is a great restaurant town. Great food. So I like that. And it's close. It's an hour flight as opposed to Minnesota last year. So thank you.
That's going to be fascinating. I'm fascinated to hear how the 49ers press corps will cover Jimmy Garoppolo for those practices now that he is not the quarterback.
Me too. It's suddenly will the spreadsheet think that he's not good? I wonder. How does that work?
Here's what I know. I know that I heard that Jimmy Garoppolo was such a great leader for years and years and years. And then Matt Barrows wrote a column in The Athletic. It said, what are the Raiders getting with Jimmy Garoppolo? And in bold letters, it said, what is Jimmy Garoppolo not, a leader? And I almost bashed my head against the table. So
what about all that professionalism and the fact that all of his, that's so funny. Did you hear that line that Kyle had yesterday? Like someone said, have you talked to Jimmy? Have you talked to Jimmy? He's like, no, the only way you talk to Jimmy is if you physically run into him. That was hilarious.
But he didn't ghost the team, right? Oh no, he didn't ghost the team. Mike Silver made that up, right?
Right. But I think what's important to remember is that the Niners deep down don't have a problem with the way Jimmy Garoppolo plays quarterback. They traded for him. Their problem with Jimmy was that. That was it. They want someone who's more committed 12 months of the year than Jimmy. That's it. Otherwise, the way he stands still and throws those 10-yard passes, they love that. They freaking love it.
But it's understandable to commit to that, to commit to Jimmy before you knew that, right? Because they didn't know that after 2017. They signed him to a contract that offseason, and then he immediately began ghosting them. But then they stuck with him after 2019 when they did know that he was ghosting them. Why?
That's on them.
To bring it full circle? Because they thought he was good enough.
Good enough? Yeah, that's on them. You found out what he was. And that's the thing. The Niners, I feel like early on, early 2019, they're like, he had that 5 interception practice in training camp. And Mike Silver reported that, there's a short leash with Jimmy actually. And they love the way Nick Mullins runs the offense. Like they saw it early like we did, but they never traded him. Never traded him. Never got a damn thing for Jimmy Garoppolo. And every year his trade value went down. And they were like, well, we're going to hold on to him one more year to bring his trade value up. Like, no, you're not. He's just going to get hurt again. And everyone's just, his value is going to sink because it's going to be cemented his reputation. He's injury prone. And so the Niners now, like they're down on Trey, right? Okay, we'll trade him. They won't. Oh, maybe we'll inflate, maybe we'll, resuscitate his value. You won't, because you're going to keep saying stuff that makes it sound like he's trash. Other than that, though.
Tyler Caressley says, what do you think Niner fans are going to be talking about during training camp, seeing James Garoppolo going against the Niners? It depends, right? If it's Trey Lance, see, this is the situation, right? Trey's getting the reps. He has a bad practice. Jimmy has a good practice. And, oh, man, 49ers Twitter is going to explode.
Here's the thing. I don't think this spreadsheet wants to be the bearer of bad news. So I don't think he's going to go there and be like, you know what? Jimmy's really good. Trey looks like crap. The Niners messed up. That's not really his MO. One guy on the beat who has no qualms of doing that, to his credit, Jack Hammer. Jack Hammer will do it. Jack Hammer will go to Vegas if he goes, and he doesn't care about being popular. He doesn't have an agenda. He is true to himself. Often I agree with Jack Hammer. We could be standing and watching the same freaking practice, and I'll disagree with him. But I got to give him credit. He's not playing to the crowd. He's not trying to say what's popular. In fact, he will put himself out there and say the most unpopular thing. So I'm going to give Jack that credit.
Well, good. What the hell are the rest of you people doing?
I'm saying, because Jack was a reader of mine for like 10 years. He finally got a press pass, and I approve of how he covers practices. He is so true to himself.
Yeah, but is his name really Jack Hammer?
I don't know.
Like the Hammer family when he was born.
I would think probably. I don't know. I don't know. That's maybe a better question for him.
Maybe his name is John and he goes by Jack Hammer because Jack Hammer is a pretty cool name.
It's a great name. I don't know. That's a better question for him.
I want to know. People need to know, Jack, and your air quotes. I want to know, damn it. Is that really your first name? But whatever. We like the coverage, so please do that. Be honest. That's all we want as fans.
Be honest. Be honest.
Honesty, and we can decide for ourselves. Just tell us what happened. Don't keep it a secret.
Because I think fans understand, too, like there's a lot going on at a practice, and not every beat writer is going to see it the same way. But as long as you are transparent, you do your best to give, not just say what happened and summarize it, but to describe it. Fans will read every single practice report. They'll try to sift through and find what's real. And as a subjective watcher, I understand that I don't catch everything. And that if I were you, I'd be reading every practice report too. I do read every practice report. I want to know what Jack thought he saw. I want to know what David thought he saw, because I don't see everything. And a lot of times on the sideline, hey, was that a completion? Did you see that? Like, we try to compare notes sometimes so that readers aren't totally confused by wildly, separate reports, but do what you can.
That's the other thing too, is that I don't think people understand. I mean, you can explain this if I'm off base. They don't exactly put you front and center to watch the practices. They put you kind of far away, and it's not just, okay, quarterbacks are throwing, no one else on the practice field is doing anything, so that's all you have to watch. There's always different things going on at different places, so you could be watching Charvarius Ward, and guess what? Quarterbacks are throwing over here, and maybe you missed a throw that Jack Hammer or Jennifer Lee Chan or somebody saw, and it ends up being kind of an important play, and they write it up. So it's not just one thing happening at one time at practice, right?
No, I mean, early on, they'll have like one-on-ones, and they'll have simultaneously wide receivers against corners, linebackers and safeties against tight ends and running backs. And it'll be like all over. It's like and then O-line against D-line. So you have 3 one-on-ones going at the same time. It's like, and then people say, so how did so-and-so do on one-on-ones? I don't know. I was only watching one of them. So that one's tough. And then during like 11-on-11s, you're not allowed to stand in the end zone. So you can't see the end zone view. You have to stand on the sideline. You're not elevated. So you have like 53 players standing there. They're all 6'5", and you're like running around trying to get like little angles. It's sometimes it's kind of hard to see football from like, it's better to be perched up. You see it better. So it's kind of tough.
Yeah. Grant is talking about how difficult it is.
It is not easy, man. Clearly, it's not easy. I mean, you could watch it, but like the question is, you'll do a show afterwards and people are like, so what did so-and-so do? What did so-and-so do? Like there's 90 people on the field, man.
Right.
And I'm trying to get as much raw data in my notebook as possible. It's not easy.
And some of those people you've never freaking seen before, by the way, because they're God knows who from God knows where, and it's going to be tough.
You get these questions. You'll be like, Trey Lance completed a throw to Brandon Ayuk. Who was in coverage? Well, who was in coverage? That's a tough. Like you got to get as much in your notebook as you possibly. Because it's a fair question. Who was in coverage? You either know or you don't. Was it zone? I don't know.
Right. For every play, every big
play.
completion.
Yeah, who was covering?
So
was it a good read? Was someone else open? Yeah, it's hard.
And it's going to get tougher because now there's only one cutdown day. So the rosters are going to be at 90 until after the 3rd preseason game, which, by the way, that's going to be a Twitter day. My God, people are going to be getting cut left and right. GMs are going to be going nuts trying to sign people, get people on the practice squad. Like, man.
Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the business we've chosen.